Lori Saunders only had one desire, and that was to become Hollywood's most famous actress. But did she ever manage to make her dream a reality, or did she just give up along the way? Stay tuned to find out. Also, there's only a small percentage of you out there that watch my videos and who are actually subscribed. So if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free. And you can always change your mind. Enjoy this video. Who exactly was Lori Saunders? Saunders was born Linda Marie Hines during the Second World War in Kansas City, Missouri. If you are wondering why her stage name has nothing to do with her birth name, that is because producers told her that she looked more like a Lori than a Linda, which is kinda weird. But the actress still managed to work with it just fine. Her early years weren't as exciting, despite the fact that she lived and survived the gruesome World War. She had a pretty unusual childhood growing up and started showing an interest in acting while she was in her teenage years, presumably in high school. This interest eventually transformed into a passion, and later on in a dream to become one of the biggest Hollywood actresses of all time. But did she really make her dreams come true? The beginning of Lori's career. Lori decided to give acting a go in the early 60s. Before starting, she decided she would listen to a producer she worked with and register in showbiz as Lori Saunders. She also explained later on in life that the reason her stage name and birth name were so different was that she loved her privacy. Using two names that had no connection with one another was a way to separate her acting persona from that of her real life. The first move she made in showbiz was by appearing as different characters in a TV series called The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. The sitcom was pretty popular as it managed to air on ABC after starting off as a radio program before continuing its success with a televised adaptation. After acting in a few small roles in the show, Lori made yet another appearance on ABC when she acted in Burke's Law. The show mainly talked about a detective who was part of a homicide division of the Los Angeles Police Department. She continued acting in the show after it changed its name to Amos Burke, Secret Agent during its final season. Meanwhile, Lori gave it a shot in another TV series. She had a role in the longest-running Western series on US TV, Rawhide, which aired on CBS. This series turned out to be a big step in Lori's career. It was the first time she managed to work with Clint Eastwood, who was a big name in the industry in the 60s. The show continued releasing other seasons using different names, such as Death Valley Days and Bonanza. With her success coming mainly from shows and series, the actress decided to stick with it and got cast in the 1965 series Petticoat Junction. It was in this show where she acted in her first biggest role. She was cast as a replacement during the show's third season after actress Pat Woodle quit the show as Bobby Joe to focus more on a singing career. The show takes place in the Shady Rest Hotel run by the Bradley family and was created following the initial success of the Beverly Hillbillies. It was part of a much larger interconnected universe of producer Paul Henning. Petticoat Junction followed the life and daily problems of Uncle Joe, who is addicted to money and success and tries to get rich by coming up with numerous get-rich-quick schemes. The show is also known for featuring the vintage steam train, the Hooterville Cannonball, which the cast and crew often used outside filming to go to the hotel they were staying at. Petticoat Junction was by no doubt a major hit of its time, thanks to its domestic-themed comedy that followed the last season of the series. It was, in fact, so successful it led to the creation of another show, Green Acres. During the time of filming of the series, Lori was living her dream life. She was a star all over the media, and her annual salary was more than she could ever imagine. Life after Petticoat Junction. During her time acting in the series, Lori befriended actress Meredith McRae, who was yet another replacement for the show. As both girls were replacements, they were able to relate to each other more and eventually ended up becoming inseparable. In 1970, Lori made an appearance in an anthology that focused on various formats such as comedy episodes, drama, and musicals called Bob Hope Presents the Chrysler Theater. But after that, Lori felt that she was fed up with only playing in series. So she was curious to find out where acting in films would take her in life. And so she did, lessening her appearances in shows drastically. One of her first ever projects in films was in a horror movie called Bloodbath that revolved around the life of a delusional artist that is convinced he is a vampire. His mental illness, if you may consider it, eventually led him to start capturing women and using them for his paintings. However, despite the interesting plot, shooting the film became really challenging and problematic to film. It is unclear if the actors weren't feeling it, or maybe the whole process of filming wasn't organized properly, as the film's production went through numerous reshoots and cuts. Lori went on to work on a couple of other films, including A Day at the White House and So Sad About Gloria, before she decided to return to TV again. In 1973, she appeared in the sitcom Dusty's Trail. The show was a typical Western, starring Forrest Tucker and Bob Denver, and is known for having a high resemblance to Gilligan's Island. The series was set during the 19th century and revolved around a group of travelers that were accidentally separated from their train while on their way to California. From that moment on, they did all they could to try and find their way to where they were going in the first place. Although it was a good show, it only released 26 episodes. Here, Lori played the role based on Mary Ann, which was played by Dawn Alberta Wells in Gilligan's Island, announcing retirement. One of the very last appearances on a show was when she worked on the film Mara of the Wilderness alongside Adam West and Theodore Marcuse. The film tells the story of a woman who was raised by wolves in the wilderness of Alaska. She comes to the aid of an anthropologist who tries to teach her the ways of the world, while another tries to hunt her down. During that time, Lori was almost about to change her birth name to her stage name legally, but eventually changed her mind along the way. Her last film before retirement was In Captive, but before announcing that she was leaving the industry for good, the actress gave the music industry a shot and ended up releasing a few singles, such as 30 Days Hath September, Out of Your Mind, and Lonely Christmas. Personal life. In 1961, Lori married Bernard Sandler after they had dated each other for some time. The couple had 2 children together and have always remained a strong duo. Both of them are known for their activism, often appearing in public working against the ivory trade, at a time where elephants almost ended up being on the verge of extinction as they were hunted down for their tusks. Even though Lori never revealed why she suddenly retired, many think she just got fed up with acting and all the dedication that came with it. It is believed that she just gave up after the shows she appeared in never reached the fame she once had with Petticoat Junction. Do you think Lori Saunders was a good actress? Let us know in the comments and check out our next video in this series.